We will get to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The initial prognosis at the time of taping from coach Jose Mourinho is it looks fairly negative. That's what he's saying. Also, Marcus Rojo looking fairly negative. We'll come back to that. First of all, United making fairly heavy weather of this, Steve. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think you could say, listen, again, they made tons of chances, no question. Yeah. They were the better side by far. It should have been comfortable, though. And, of course, when you go ahead and then you lose a goal and all of a sudden you start getting the jitters, you start thinking, oh, dear, we've completely dominated this game. We've let the opposition back in. This could go horribly wrong. They deserved it in the end. I'll tell you what, there was a few holding their breath.
Mourinho will be very disappointed with the finishing tonight. You know, they did break Anderlecht down numerous occasions, but the finishing in front of goal was not the best. And you know, everybody was guilty of it. But as Stevie says, they should have been put to bed. Well, they should have been put to bed in the first leg. Never mind about tonight. But they totally dominated and just squeaked home.
Now let's be honest. Anderlecht, come on, it can't complete 2 passes. And we're evaluating this objectively. We're watching this team and we're thinking, how is this team going to score the goal? Somehow they get a deflection, a rebound, eventually they get on the end of it, they score the goal. But they didn't seem like there was an opportunity for Anderlecht to really threaten Manchester United. To me, this is all on Manchester United and their inability to consistently, once it gets to the point to where you need to put a team away, to do it. To be able to execute in the final third. For as much as people want to love on Marcus Rashford and say the positive things about him after his performance on the weekend against Chelsea, well, you have to be able to finish your chances.
Should they have kept the same team?
No.
No.
I bet they wish they'd kept the same team now because Ibrahimovic looks
easy to say
in a little bit of trouble.
In retrospect. But
and if you're a side who can't finish other than Ibrahimovic and they don't have him, how are they going to get themselves in the Champions League? Whether it's in the league or whether it's winning this tournament.
I think Mourinho, if he's saying it's not looking too bad, when you look at that in slow-mo and you freeze it, it looks terrible. It really looks a bad injury.
He said it looked a fair degree of negative is what he actually said.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, he probably doesn't have much of an idea right
now.
But
when your knee hyperextends like that the wrong way, it's not good.
Gruesome, didn't it? I mean, you guys were just
and also Rojo's injury looks.
Yeah, well, he said both of them look a fair degree of negative.
Yeah, but in the big scheme of things, if you've got a choice of losing Rojo or Ibra, I mean, it's not even a competition. This is huge for them because they need this guy in order to get in the Champions League next season, whichever competition it is. They cannot finish their chances, and as good as Rashford looks, he is not the finished article. He had, 3 one-on-ones with the goalkeeper and never got close to scoring tonight. Hit the side net and hit everything but the goal.
Rashford did score the winner, though. Let's give him that.
Well, he did, but
it was a pretty good winner,
too. 5 opportunities. That's not good enough. When it comes to the crunch, you need to rely on somebody, and without Ibra, you can't rely on anybody.
Here's the point, though, Adrian. For a team that struggles with scoring goals and creating opportunities to score those goals, Marcus Rashford cannot have 5, 6 chances in order to score one against Anderlecht.
And better tell the English media that, because they are anointing him the next big thing.
Where's the English media? I don't care about the English media. See, I don't care because to be honest with you, I don't care if Marcus Rashford does well or not. We're evaluating the player for what we see, and when you miss one-on-one situations, as good as he may be, as talented as he may be, right now he's not better than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Right now he's not the finisher that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is. So you need a player of the quality of Ibrahimovic to be there in order for you to have a real opportunity. Now, Marcus Rashford better come up with the goals now because there's nobody else in that team that's going to score the goals.
Now, no qualified doctors here on the desk, I believe. No. So, again, right now, and we're talking in the immediate aftermath of the game, and so we're only speculating. Zlatan, if he is done for the season, what does it mean for United?
Well, you take Zlatan's goals out of United this season, and what are you left with?
Not a lot.
You're left with a team that is not even close to the top 4. And really, can they win the Europa League without a guy to put the ball in the back of the net? Because without him, they don't have anybody you can rely on. As bad as the opposition, probably.
And the other side of the discussion is, what does this mean for Zlatan Ibrahimovic at Manchester United? Because if indeed this is as bad as we think it is, then why do you take a chance on Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the future if you're Manchester United? It may just be the end of his time there.
At 35, Paul,
Look, it doesn't matter how old you are.
nothing's easy to come back from.
You don't. No, I mean, look. I mean, we've all had fairly bad injuries in our career. That's a bad injury, and I think who's got to step up is Mkhitaryan. He looks as though he's the most clinical finisher of the group that's left. You know, you can't rely on Rashford. You know, when you're getting into the sharp end of the season and when the big games are coming along and it's tight in the box, who's the guy that's going to finish? For me, it's going to be Mkhitaryan.